Morning to one and all. Myself Rajeshri, research scholar in the Department of ECE, NIT PY. I welcome you all for this session on antenna design and simulations. It's great honor for me to introduce the resource person, Dr. R. Bhupathirani, currently officiating as Associate Dean Academic of National Institute of Technology, Puducherry, an institute of national importance and serving as Assistant Professor in the Department of ECE. She headed the Department of ECE NIT Puducherry for 5 semesters. She is having more than a decade of experience in academics and have more than 35 research publications. She secured university first rank in MA degree. She was honored by Sudarshan Engineering College as the Best Teacher Award in the year 2007. It is proud to mention that the Indian Society of Technical Education India had awarded her as the Best Woman Engineering College Teacher in the year 2010. I welcome you, ma'am. Now, I request Dr. R. Bhupathirani, ma'am, to take over the session.
Good afternoon, all the participants. In this section, we are going to discuss about some basics of antennas, AI, and applications to antennas using AI for a DOA application. And we are going to tell you about one free software, that is Neural Lab, NEC Lab, and some MATLAB examples. Okay, already there are sessions handled by experts regarding the antenna and fundamental parameters. So I am going to give only tips, very small information about these parameters, about antenna and the parameters. Okay, so we say the antenna as the device used for radiating or receiving electromagnetic waves. Okay, in a wireless communication system, in the transmitter side, we need an antenna to transmit signal from the transmitter, that is a wired. Here it is a wired medium and this is the free space. The antenna acts as a coupling device between the wired medium and the wireless medium. Similarly, in the receiving end, the antenna acts as a coupling device between the wireless medium and the wired medium. Okay, so the antenna we define as the means for radiating or receiving radio waves. Okay, there are many different types of antennas. We are going to tell about dipole antenna and microstrip antennas. So everyone know about the microstrip antenna. These are all widely used nowadays. It came to existence from 1970s. These antennas are having metallic patch on a grounded substrate, and the metallic patch can be of any different shape. Okay, here I have shown you the picture of rectangular patch antenna and circular patch antenna. From here you can see the structure of the antenna. This is having a substrate. Below that we have a conducting layer for ground, and above that we have a metallic layer for patch. Okay, below also a metallic layer, above also a metallic layer. This one act as the ground and the above one act as a patch radiator. Okay, and this is circular patch antenna, and the substrate property, if we see, it is having a permittivity epsilon tau. Okay, and the width and length of the antenna we will be calculating using formulas. And the parameters of the antenna, if we see, it includes radiation pattern, directivity, gain, polarization, impedance, bandwidth, etc. Okay, so these parameters are widely explained in the session 2 of day 1 of this FDP. So we will have a recap. The radiation pattern means the angular plot of the radiation. Directivity means the ratio of antenna power density at a distant point relative to that of an isotropic radiator. And gain means that directivity reduced by losses. Then polarization is the trace of the radiated electric field vector. The polarization can be classified into different types: linear, circular, elliptical. Then impedance of the antenna. Antenna input impedance at its terminals, we call it as impedance of the antenna. From where noise is coming? Okay. Bandwidth tells the range of frequencies over which performance is acceptable. Okay. What will be the resonant frequency? Okay, required. What will be the impedance bandwidth required, or the radiation pattern required, gain, directivity? Okay, so we will be having some defined value for particular application. Those are all met for some range of frequencies that we call it as bandwidth. Then another thing is beam scanning. So we know the radiation pattern of an antenna will be having lobe. So that lobe we call it as beam, that can be switched to different directions, that we call it as beam scanning. And I told you about microstrip patch antenna. It plays vital applications in many fields. In high performance aircraft, spacecraft, satellite, missile applications, where size, weight, cost, performance, ease of installation, and aerodynamic profile are constraints, low profile antennas may be required. Okay, it is finding application in government and commercial applications. And if we see the advantages of microstrip patch antenna, it includes low profile, conformal to planar and non-planar surfaces, simple and inexpensive to manufacture using modern printed circuit technology. How we are manufacturing PCB, similar technique, we can manufacture these kind of antennas and microwave planar devices also. And these are all mechanically robust when mounted on rigid surfaces, compatible with MMIC designs. Okay, and these can be tuned for a wide range of parameters. Disadvantages, if we see, it includes low efficiency, low power, high Q, etc. Okay, so there are some design tips given. The substrate permittivity ranges from 2.2 to 12 for microstrip patch antenna, and the length of the element, if we see, it is from lambda naught by 3 to lambda naught by 2. Okay, so the patch antennas can be designed to use for many different shapes. So our imagination is the limit. We can design microstrip patch antenna for any shape. Okay, so the design equations will be dealt by dealt in the next section. Okay, so coming to ANN, artificial intelligence. How? So now, right now, I have given explanation about antenna and parameters, and what about microstrip patch antenna. What are the advantages, disadvantages? Now we will see what is artificial intelligence. Okay, so the basic building block of artificial intelligence is the neural network. So this neural network is a computational method, and this is inspired in biological process to solve problems that are very difficult for computers or humans. Okay, so there we can apply neural network. Basically, that ANN is a black box with inputs and outputs for user. Okay, so user will be giving only input and taking output. An engineer, we are designing that black box. Okay, so we can adjust. We have to design ANN by adjusting the parameters which is present inside that black box. So the input to that ANN can be an image, a sound, or temperature, and output will be dependent on the input. Okay, so the next, if we see the steps involved in the artificial neural network design, the first step will be the pre-processing. So the data which we are going to supply to the neural network will be raw data. Sometimes it needs processing. Okay, sometime we may do transformation, sometime we will be removing some noise. After that only we will be giving the data to the ANN, that is neural network block. Okay, so that we call it as pre-processing. Then the next, if we see the neuron structure, here I have shown you the neuron structure. So this neuron, okay, an artificial neuron is composed of an adder and activation function. You can see here, this is having an adder and activation function. The inputs are multiplied by each weight W, and the summation Y is applied to the activation function f of y. Okay, and we take the output set. This is the basic building block of neural network. This is the one single neuron representation. It is getting input from x1, x2, x3 inputs, and those inputs are multiplied with the weights, and it is summed using this block. That output will be given to the activation function, and finally we are getting output from this neuron. Okay, and what is the called activation function? The activation function, how the activation function should be, if we see, the activation function must be a sigmoid, has an S shape, real, continuous, limited, and have a positive derivative. And here I mention only the activation function. There will also be bias to the each neuron in the network. Okay, so each neuron has a fixed input called bias that always have a value of 1. The bias allows the neuron to increase its learning flexibility by shifting the value of y as required for the specific conditions of the problem. Okay, so after designing the neural network, we have to train the network. Okay, here I have shown only the one neuron. That complete neural network will be having many neurons having many layers also. Okay, so the input will be given to the first layer, and there could be many layers in between input and output. Okay, after designing that network, we need to train the network using data. So after designing the network, we need to train it. So there are many different methods of training, simulated on genetic algorithm, conjugate gradient, variable metric, etc. And once we train the network, we need to validate. Okay, so for the validation purpose, we will be dividing the data into two sets. That is, sometime we will be taking 80% of the data for training and 20% for testing. So that we call it as validation. So the testing data composition can be 80-20 or 70-30. Okay, and accordingly we will be train the network after the testing. Okay, so next, if we see the steps in the artificial neural network design, first we need to build the training set, and we need to build the validation test, and we need to design the network, and we need to train the network, and we need to check the training. We have to check for the minimum error, and we need to perform the validation. Okay, these are the steps involved in the ANN design. Okay, so if we again see the steps, we have to, while designing the network, we have to initialize the weights to the each path. Here you see this input is connected to this neuron via this path. On this, we are assigning the weight. So we need to initialize the weights, and we need to calculate the error from the. See here, I have shown only the one neuron, but the complete network will be comprises of many neurons and many layer, and final output we will be getting. This final output, and in case of supervised learning, we know the set of inputs and the corresponding output. So the output obtained from the network will be compared with the actual output. So that difference we call it as error. Okay, so according to the error, we need to update the weights. Okay, so we will be calculating the error at the output, and we will be adjusting the weights. Then after adjusting the weights, we will be repeating the process. So we will be repeating it for many number of times until we achieve minimum acceptable error value. So one training iteration for all data represents one epoch. Okay. So first I will be telling you about the AI application in smart antennas. Okay, so we call the smart antenna, smart device means any device which is having intelligence. Okay, similarly, small antenna is having some intelligence. We will see that. Okay, applications of smart antennas, if we see, it is having applications in military, electronic warfare, commercial, etc. Okay. It is finding application in commercial also because nowadays we have powerful low-cost digital signal processors, general purpose processors, ASICs, and these are all low cost also. So we will be using the smart antennas in the commercial field also. Okay. And if we see the need for smart antenna, the spectrum which we have is limited. Okay, limited capacity. So we need to go for some ways to increase the spectrum utility. So one such way is that using smart antenna. And the radio propagation environment and the mobility of users give rise to signal fading and spreading in time, space, and frequency. So if signal is faded, we need to design a receiver which can cope up with the fading effects occurred in the signal. Okay, so that job also can be obtained using smart antennas. Okay, so then we will see about direction of arrival. Okay, so here I have shown you one analogy. So for this human, consider this is the desired speaker and this is the unwanted speaker. Okay, if a human wants to hear from this speaker, his ears will be automatically tuned to the desired speaker, and there will be more concentration towards this direction than the unwanted speaker direction. So the neurons present in the human brain knows in which direction to concentrate to receive the desired signal speech. Okay, so similarly the antenna can also be designed to receive the signal of interest and provide null in the signal of not interest. Okay, so for the system, ear of the system could be the antenna, and we need a narrow beam. Okay, if we want to narrow beam, if we want to reduce the beam width, we need to go for an array of antenna, and we need to change the direction of beam. Okay, the direction of beam of an antenna can be changed mechanically or electrically. Okay, mechanically changing the direction of antenna is cumbersome task. So we will be going for electronically changing the direction of beam. Okay, that we will see in the future slide. So this is the simple system having two infinitesimal horizontal dipoles positioned on the z-axis. Okay, this derivation many of you would have solved. So here two dipoles are placed at a distance of d. Okay, so here to shape the pattern we have 5 parameters. The geometrical configuration of the overall array can be changed. The relative displacement between the elements can be changed. The excitation amplitude of the individual element can be changed. The excitation phase of the individual element can be changed. The relative pattern of the individual element can also be changed to obtain the desired overall pattern from the array. Okay, if we see this equation, the progressive phase shift, okay, will be kd cos theta plus beta. In case if the beta is 0, okay, beta is 0, we get the beam directed in the broadside direction. In the perpendicular direction, we will be getting the beam. Here you see the antenna array is located on the z-axis. We get the beam on the on perpendicular direction to the array axis. Okay, so this we are achieving by changing the feed. Okay, excitation to the antenna. If we feed all the elements with progressive phase difference of 0 degree, we get the beam positioned in the perpendicular direction to the array. Similarly, if we look into the equation, we want the beam to be in the 0 degree direction. So if theta naught is 0 degree, we will be getting beta as minus kd. If we choose that excitation phase okay, progressive phase differences minus KD, then we get the beam in the 0 degree direction. Similarly, if it is 180 degree, we get the beam. If we want 180 degree, we have to have the excitation phases KD. Okay, so here you see the beam is in the 0 degree direction, here in the 180 degree directions. So these examples are telling that by changing the excitation phase to the individual elements in the array, the beam can be pointed in the perpendicular broadside direction or on the end fire direction. Okay, these things we need to do automatically. Okay, so like steering on a car, we need to steer the radiation from the antenna to some particular direction. So for this, we need some intelligent system that we can apply a neural network. Okay, so this is the system. Consider this system. So here the desired speaker is present in this direction, unwanted speaker is present in the other direction. So this system should be capable of pointing to the desired speaker and produce null in the unwanted speaker. Here you see these weights. Okay, so the weights are adjusted in such a way that the system gets input from the desired speaker and null from the undecided speaker. Then we will achieve the job. So there are two major configurations of smart antennas. Switched beam is one type. A finite number of fixed predefined patterns or combining strategies, we call it a switched beam. And theoretically, infinite number of patterns that are adjusted in real time according to the spatial changes of SOIs, that is signal of interest and signal of not interest. That is called adaptive array. Okay, so here the switched beam system is shown. So in switched beam, there will only be a defined number of beams, and if the user moves, then the particular beam will be pointed by the antenna. And this is about adaptive array system. Here there is no defined number of pattern. According to the user movement, the beam will be pointing. Okay, beam direction will be changing according to the user's movement. Okay, so there are some pros and cons and each technique. In switched strategy, if the user moves to this direction, see here only null, then that time the user will not be covered by the antenna. But in case of adaptive, we can easily track the movement. Okay, we can always find the direction of arrival of the user. Okay, so these kind of systems are employed in the smart antenna systems. Consider this example, a 2-element linear array we have, and they are half wavelength apart. The elements are half wavelength apart. We have a desired signal in 0 degree direction and interference in the 30 degree direction. So the complete system can be drawn like this. In this, the desired signal is P e power j omega naught t, and it is going to the system after multiplying with this weight. See, this desired signal is here, okay, which means the delay present for both antenna 1 and antenna 2 are same, which means, so it is getting multiplied with this weight and that sum, okay, the signal weight multiplied, similarly the received signal weight multiplied, and the sum will be the output y. So in order to receive only this desired signal, the weights must be equal to this equation. Okay, similarly we need to avoid a signal of non-interest. Okay, so for that, if we see here, the one signal will be received here pi by 4 earlier and here pi by 4 later. So for the undesired signal, if we write the output equation, we will get this. Okay, so from this we can say this these weights must be here we should not that noise should not reach the output, that must be 0. So for that we will be formulating the equations and solving, we get weight expressions. Okay, so here only 2 elements, the solving of equation is very simple. But if it is 1024 elements, okay, more number of elements, it will be very difficult, and those things are done by powerful DS process. And these things can also be carried out using neural networks. Okay, so there are some the algorithms, multiple signal classification algorithm, estimation of signal parameters via a rotational invariation technique, minimum mean square error, etc. Yesterday also Prakash Rao sir mentioned about many different algorithms and optimization, but these kind of things can also be carried out using artificial intelligence. Now I would like to show you some papers related to this topic. See this paper, direction of arrival estimation estimation by using artificial neural networks. So that direction of arrival estimation, for finding that the direction of arrival, they have formulated one neural network. Okay, so this neural network getting this input, and there are many layers, and there are many this is the input section, and these are all hidden layers, and this is the output layer, and output we are getting. Okay, and they have designed and checked using MATLAB software, and they calculated the error values. And how they proceeded, how much data they have taken for training and testing, all are mentioned. Okay, this is one application. And if we see the another paper, phased antenna array beamforming using conventional neural network. For beamforming they used, okay, and it is using CNN, convolutional neural network. Okay, so how that convolutional neural network architecture arrived, and what are the different layers in it, what are the training data they have taken, how they tested, we can see from this paper. Okay, so not only this, ANN has applied in many different aspects in antenna design. If you see here, an artificial neural network model for effective dielectric constant of microstrip line. See, they have framed one ANN for finding the effective dielectric constant of microstrip line, and they compared with the spectral domain technique. So usually spectral domain technique was used to find the epsilon effective, but ANN can also be modeled, neural network can also be modeled to find the epsilon effective. If we see some other papers, see the artificial neural network for resonant frequency calculation of rectangular microstrip antennas with thin and thick substrates. Okay, artificial neural networks for resonant frequency calculation of rectangular microstrip. They have taken rectangular microstrip antennas with thin and thick substrate. So if we see the inputs and outputs in the system, here they have taken input as width, length, height, epsilon r. So I already have shown you the basic structure of microstrip patch antenna. Okay, so in that width, length, height, epsilon r taken as input, and the network is finding the resonant frequency. Okay, so in order to train the network, we can simulate in any of the microwave softwares for different values of W, L, H, epsilon r, and we can take the output. Okay, we can take the resonant frequency, and also we can also get the measured data. These can be used as, okay, so the different values of W, L, H, epsilon r, and F, resonant frequency. Okay, that set initially was used as input to the neural network model, and the system will be trained. Then after that, we can get the resonant frequency value from the neural network model, for which we don't know. Actually, even if we do we did we have not simulated. For example, we will be simulating for some defined value of W, L, H, epsilon, r. Okay, for example, we are simulating for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 width. Okay, and we are designing the neural network and we are training it and testing. After that, if the width value we want to find the resonant frequency for width value of 1.5 mm. Okay, so that data can be given as the given to the neural network, and the system will give the output. So this way, neural network, ANN, is finding application in antennas. And if we see other paper, here calculation of microstrip antenna bandwidth using artificial neural network. Okay, so earlier paper they found resonant frequency. Here they are finding the bandwidth. So for finding the bandwidth, what are the inputs taken? Width, length. Output is the bandwidth. Okay, so these systems actually, if we take the case of medical images or some other application, the data set is available. But for antenna applications, data set is not mostly available. So we have to generate the data set. Using that, we can test. Here you see this data set 8.3, 8.8, 8.8, some values of width and length. They initially would have found the bandwidth. Okay, so for this the system will be trained. After the training and validation, if we give any value of width and length, we will be able to obtain the bandwidth. If we do the simulation in any of the software, can be IE3D or HFSR or CST, FECO, or any of the software, each simulation it consumes some time. It may consume to 1 minute, or sometime it may consume 10 or 15 minutes. But if we have some trained network, that will give answer in seconds. See, this is another paper. Here, artificial intelligence in the estimation of past dimensions of rectangular microstrip antenna. See, this is opposite. So, one paper before the last was finding the resonant frequency provided the dimensions are given, and here the dimensions are for output and input is the resonant frequency. So here you can see what are the inputs and what is the output, how they validated, we can find it. So this way, the applications of AI in antenna is increasing. In this, I have one small demo. See here in MATLAB. Now, in this way, see, this is the MATLAB window. MATLAB window. Just a second, we are checking why the screen is not shared. Just a second. Entire screen only I am giving. Screen not shared.
Dear participant, please wait. Ma'am will join within few minutes.
This is the MATLAB window. MATLAB. I typed NN tool. This is the NN tool. Okay. So I already have generated the data for antenna. Okay. So I will import. First, I will show you the data. So for different dipole dimensions, for different dipole dimensions, I simulated the antenna, dipole antenna, and have taken the return loss characteristics, okay, from 0.8 to 1.2 gigahertz. Okay, so in that antenna design, I have varied the dipole dimension. Okay, And from this, I am finding the that minus 10 dB bandwidth. Okay, impedance bandwidth, minus 10 dB impedance bandwidth I am calculating. So for the first dimension, if you see, it is from 1.06. It is starting from 1.026 and it goes up to 1.133, and I know the center frequency also. Okay, from this, okay, so I have simulated, I ran the parametric for many different dimensions. From this I have made the data. Okay, so those data I saved in the file format. This is dipole. So I have taken, I already told now. Okay, so I have taken the data. Yeah. See, I will have 1 second show the Excel sheet. So this is I have varied the antenna dimension, dipole antenna dimension, and taken the return loss characteristics. From this, I found what is the cutoff, what are the cutoff frequencies, what is the center frequency. Like this, I have tabulated for 130 mm dipole length, what is the F1, F2, and what is the center frequency. Okay, so this way I have tabulated the data, and those data we have. Okay, so this is the neural network toolbox. So in the neural network toolbox, I am going to import the input data. Okay. So I am giving input data, input data, and I am loading the output data. That is the target data. Okay, so the input data and output data are loaded. So before that, I will check what is the input data. See here. So this one is the F1 and this is the F2. In between, I have the center frequency. And what is output? Output is the dimension of the dipole. Okay, output is the dimension of the dipole that I have imported the neural network model. Now I am making a network. Okay, so for this network, input is in, output is out. I'm not changing any training function or adaptive learning function. I'm keeping the general setting. Okay, I'm just creating. So it is created. Okay, now I am clicking this network and we need to train the network. So input, we are giving input and we are giving the target and train the network. Okay, so once we click train, so the network will be trained. Okay, now we will check the output. Okay, we want to check the output. Initially, I will take these values. Okay, these inputs I will give. So in order to give, I am loading the data in the command window x equal to this. Okay, this is my x. The x variable is created. I am loading, I am importing the data x imported. Now I am going to find out, sorry, this must be imported in input. X must be imported in input. Okay, then we already trained the network. Now we want to check the performance. So input to the network is X. We will simulate. Okay, the result will be coming here. So it is showing 160. Okay. We will again train the network. Input, output. This is the network. We are training it. So after training, we can test. For testing, we need to load the data. X is the input data we are going to test. So in the network, so output is coming here. I think I need to check the data again. Okay. So instead of this input, what is this? This is output. This is one input, this is another input. Okay. I will tell the steps again. I am going to use NN tool. NN tool. I am going to import the data. So here in desktop, I have the input and I have the output also. So this I am going to load. So I need to change the folder to desktop because the variables are there in the desktop. When this is the input. Okay, this is showing error. See, I will load the data again. So these are the input. So I will first create the matrix. In equal to matrix. Okay, the input data is created in matrix in MATLAB, and I will create the output variable matrix out. Okay, then I am calling the NN tool. So I am importing our data. I am going to import input in as input data, out as target data, and I am making one neural network model without changing any general settings. I am just creating a network model. Now we are going to train the network. So for training, we are going to use the data we generated. Okay, the training completed. We can simulate. For simulating, just I am taking, for testing, I am taking this data. I am giving this to the variable X. Okay. Then this variable must be loaded to the network. So I am importing X as the input data. And we are going to check the output for the input data. That output variable will be coming here. So 134.486. Initially, I got some error that is due to some garbage values already present in MATLAB. So afterwards, I cleared all the variables and run the simulation. So I am getting correct result. See here, this value I picked a third column. So this third column is means in out I will show you. So what is the value? 134. So here also we are getting 134.486. So this is for the trained value. Okay. So shall we give some arbitrary value? So instead of these values, I just take average of these two. Okay, this is point for 136 and this is for 138. I'm just averaging and taking this data as input to the network. MATLAB. I name this variable as x1. And again, we are going to use the trained network. We are importing. Then we are going to check the output for the x1 input. So the output 137.2. Here you see the Excel. So this is 136, 138. So the 137 in that the network was not given with that this input. This is new input. Okay, from the data already fed to the network, that network was trained and giving the output for this input. What are these inputs? These are F1 band center frequency and F2. So for this, what should be the dimension of the dipole? We obtain from the we can obtain from the neural network, which we have now. Okay, so that is telling 137. Okay, it is coming correctly. So similarly, we can do some other simulations also. For example, see, I have already this is the calculated value for substrate permittivity, substrate height, and this is the width of the microstrip line. What is the epsilon effective? We calculated using formula. Actually, this formula is also approximate only. Okay, now I am going to design the network for these inputs. Okay, we are going to do supervised learning. And this is for, I am going to take make the network using these data. These are the input and this one is the output. Okay, so before taking the input to the MATLAB, we will clear all the variables. Okay, now I will take the variable, okay, inputs to the MATLAB. We can name variable anyway. I am just naming it as in. And the out is so this is the output variable. So for these data, we are going to train and test the network. Okay. So we already defined the inputs. We can first delete. And this network also we can delete. Output variable also we delete. Errors, everything we delete. Okay, once again I call the neural network tool. So we will import that import the data. In is the input data and out is the target data. And we are going to make a network. This is only the general setting I am using. So yeah, according to our data and system needs, we can change the parameters. I'm just using the general settings. Okay. So this is the network. So this network we initially train for the supervised learning. We are giving input and correct output. Train the network. Since there were so many data, it was iterating for many times and getting the network trained. Then we can test it. For testing purpose, we will take some other data. See here, for 8.2, 1.88, see here we have value. Okay, I'm just, I want to find for 8.25. Okay, 8.25. And for this dimension. Okay, so this is our input. So that I name it as X. We need to load the data. So import X input. Then we can choose the network, simulate X, and we will see the output. So the output is 7.751. See, this is having formula. So it is 7.84. We are getting 7.75. Okay. So in the network, if we change the model, so initially we were choosing the network now. So here, if we change the models, okay, I used only the general setting. So if we use appropriate models, we will be getting the accurate results within seconds from the neural network. So next, so how to design an antenna and how to extract the training data from HFSS, that I invite my scholars to explain.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, all. This is Muthuramya, Research Scholar, EC Department, NITPY. I'm going to show you how to design a rectangular patch antenna in HFSS. Before that, these are all my contents. As ma'am already told, rectangular microstrip patch antenna. This patch antenna contains 3 elements. One is substrate. Wait a minute. There will be a substrate, which is a dielectric material, and it will have a patch on top of the substrate. It is a metallic layer, and then ground on bottom of the substrate. Here, these are all the dimensions I have taken for the patch antenna. These are all the formula to find the patch dimensions and ground dimension, feed line dimension, and this is the dimension for inset. I'll explain how to create the patch antenna. launch the HFSS software. It is a commercially available software. Most of the antenna designers using this HFSS software. Here, you just create a new project. This is our project. You just insert a HFSS design here. Here, already inserted here. Then you will get this window. This is a window where we are going to design our patch antenna. Now, we shall start from the ground plane, which is under the substrate. It is a two-dimensional plane. So you please take the draw rectangle option. You just click this option. Click somewhere in the window and move diagonally. Click again. There will be a patch, which is this is a plate, which is going to be used as our ground now. You can rename it as ground. You can also change the color. This is our ground. Now I'm going to change the dimension of the ground, which is same as our substrate dimension, 63.8 mm square. Double click create rectangle option. Then here we are going to give the position and dimension of our ground plane. You can draw anywhere in the window and you can adjust the position to bring the desired element to the desired location. Now I am going to give the dimension, which is width of the substrate minus W by 2 and minus length of the substrate divided by 2, comma, minus H. Because of it is, I'm going to design the entire structure at the center of the origin. So I'm giving the position like this. Now it is asking for W value, which is 63.8 mm. Then it is asking for the second variable, which is length. L is also 63.8 mm. Then another one variable I have mentioned, that is height of the substrate. Because of the ground plane is under the substrate, we are going to give the position in Z direction as minus H. Okay, so H is now, our substrate height is 1.6 mm. H is now 1.6 mm. The X dimension is W width and Y dimension is now L. Then click OK. You'll be having the ground plane. Just click Ctrl D. Then the entire structure will be visible in the particular window. We are fitting it into the window. Then the next element we are going to create is the substrate, which is three-dimensional element. So take this option, draw box option. You just start from the same position where we have started for ground. Then move diagonally up to this corner. Click, then move upwards, then click. We'll be having one cube, which is our substrate now. I can rename it as substrate. The material I'm used is FR4 material. You just select the material. FR4 here, FR4 epoxy, which is having dielectric constant 4.4 and lost tangent 0.02. Then click OK. We can change the color also. Transparency also can be changed. Because of FR4 material is easily available and less cost material, most of the antenna designers will use this material as a substrate. Then we're going to create a patch now. Patch will be on top of the substrate. For that also we are taking draw rectangle option. We just draw a rectangle here. Then rename it as patch. I'm changing its color. Now, yes. Now I'm going to change its position and dimension. Patch minus patch width divided by 2, comma, minus patch length divided by 2, comma, 0. And our X size is patch width. Sorry. It is asking for patch width dimension. What is our dimension? Patch with this 38 mm. And patch length is 29.7 mm. Now, here it is patch width in X direction, in Y direction it is patch length. Now this is a code for MATLAB code for patch dimensions. Here we can calculate the I'm going to enter the value FR4 dielectric materials epsilon value 4.4. Then the H value is height of the substrate is 1.6 mm. The frequency, we're going to design this antenna for 2.4 gigahertz. Then it will show the length and width of the patch. Length is 29.797 mm and width is 38.0363 mm. So we are going to apply the same dimension here at patch dimension, which is PL and PW. You can change the variables from the menu HFSS. Select the option design properties. Here it is PW value and PL value needs to be changed. That 0363 mm and patch length is 29.797 mm. Click OK. The patch no. Okay. Its size is h, right? Okay. Now this is our substrate, ground, and patch. Now we are going to design the feed line. For that, take rectangle tool, just draw from here to here, change the name as feed line, the dimensions, zero, comma, minus feed width by 2, comma 0. The feed width is 3 mm. The microstrip line is designed for 50 ohms. For that, here exercises feed. Let us exercise. We can give us W by 2. Sorry, L by 2 both are same. By 2. Y sizes feed width. Okay. Now it is created from the origin up to the edge of the substrate. Okay. We are anyways we are going to connect these two patch and feed line. The feed line dimension can be calculated from the formula, as I already told. This is a code for feed line dimension calculation. For that, I need to enter some values. Substrate epsilon r value is 4.4. Height of the substrate is 1.6 mm. Electrical length of the microstrip line is lambda by 4. That quarter wave length that is 90. That then impedance of the microstrip line, we are going to design the line for 50 ohms impedance, and the antenna design frequency is 2.4 gigahertz. Then we're getting width of the microstrip line is 3.059 mm, and length of the line is 17.1244 mm. We're going to apply here. That is, width of the line is 3 mm and length of the feed line is 17.1 mm. 17.1 mm will be here. In such a way the substrate is designed now. Then now this line is 50 ohms line. In our patch, we are having impedance at the center, it will be equal to 0, and impedance at the corner of the edge of the patch will be around 250 ohms. Like it is calculated as 243 for this antenna. If we are connecting this feed line at the edge of the patch, means there it is impedance is around 250 ohms. The impedance of the line is 50 ohms. Then there will be mismatch. So that we need to find the point where 50 ohm is occurs. Then we need to connect the microstrip feed line to the particular point where the 50 ohm occurs. Here the impedance is 0 ohms and here the impedance is 250 ohms. Okay, so we're going to cut some portion from the patch and connect the feed line at the particular point. For that we need to create an inset here. The inset dimension calculated from the formula. rename it as and change the dimension of the insert. Thing went on. Wait for a minute. Now this is our insert. I'm just changed that in the width of the patch is taken in y direction and length of the patch is taken at the x direction. Previously I gave it differently. Now I'm going to subtract the insert from the patch. For that, select patch and insert, just subtract it. Click OK. Now the portion is etched out from the patch. Now we are going to connect this feed line with our patch. For that, select patch first, then select feed lines. Then unite these two with this option. Then you will be getting this structure. Now basic design of our patch is ready. Now we are going to give excitation to the patch. For that, we need to create a port. For that, the port should be created at this position, so that you need to change the plane.
You need to tell only the steps. Here all are available now.
Yes.
This design you need to tell the points how you need to design. Participants are leaving now.
Okay. Okay. This is the design already designed. Designed for
What do you show here? This is the number.
These are port created here. This is our port. Now we are going to going to assign boundary and excitation. For the patch and ground, select patch, right click and assign boundary. Click finite conductivity, use material copper. Same way, we are going to assign boundary for ground. Now we are going to give excitation to the port. For that, select lumped port, click next, select a new line. Place your cursor here at click finish. You can check the excitation and boundaries here. This is the boundary for our patch, this is the boundary for our ground, and we have created excitation also. Now we are going to design radiation box. For that, select open, create open region and give your resonant frequency. Now our radiation box is ready. We are going to give analysis setup. It's designed for 2.4 gigahertz and number of passes can be 20. Sweep also we need to mention from where to where it needs to sweep. From 1 gigahertz to 3 gigahertz I'm giving. Now all set. Now we can validate the design all so that green ticks so that the design is okay. Now you can simulate the design. Before that, save. By clicking this analyze all button, it will take 2 to 3 minutes. It is already designed antenna. Here we got the resonance exactly at 2.4 gigahertz. In some cases, the resonance will not occur at the exact point. At that point, we need to use optimization algorithms to tune the antenna patch dimension to make it resonate at the particular frequency. Now my co-scholar Mrs. Rajasri will explain about optimization algorithms. Thank you.
Good afternoon to one and all. Myself Rajashree, research scholar in the Department of ECE, NIT Puducherry. Here I am going to give how to optimize a normal microstrip patch antenna in HFSS. Sometimes while designing a microstrip patch antenna using the design formula, the length and width we can calculate from the formula. By using that formula, we can design a microstrip patch antenna. Sometimes the actual resonant frequency we may not obtained. In that case, we should go for this optimization. Yeah, and also if you design an antenna for 2.4 gigahertz, if you want to resonate this antenna at some frequency near to that, like 2.3 or 2.5 gigahertz, also you can optimize the antenna using the optimization facility which is available in the HFSS. So first, if you want to optimize an microstrip patch antenna, you first need to do the parametric for this antenna. So if you want to optimize the length and width of the microstrip patch antenna, you need to do the parametric for the length and width of the microstrip patch antenna. So for doing that, you go to this optimetrics, add parametric. So here there is an option called add. In that you should add the variable which you want to do the parametric. Here I add this patch length. So actually patch length is 38. So here I should take the parametric from 36 to 40 mm. So the step size 42. So the step size I am going to give is 1 mm. So that here it is shown. I just click add 2 times so that, so now it is added. So for confirming that, you should go here. Already I added 2 setup. Now I deleted that 2. So this is the parametric setup now I added. So here you check from 36 mm to 40 mm with the step size 1 mm. So here there is lot of options to see. There is some table which shows 36, 37, 30 up to 48, 42 mm because the step size is 1 mm. Now I click OK. After this, you right click this and so analyze this. So parametric for microstrip antenna takes some time. So so before go to that, yeah. So how we actually do the optimization before the fabrication is available. This is the methodology how we can optimize the length and width of the microstrip patch antenna. Here design a microstrip insert feed rectangular microstrip antenna using HFSS. So after that you collect the data set from HFSS using parametric analysis. So now we are doing that parametric analysis. After collecting the data from this parametric analysis, we go for the training. So training the artificial neural network by using the data which we collected from the parametric analysis. So use a suitable algorithm for training the artificial neural network. There are so many algorithms are available for training the artificial neural network. So after training this, you should optimize the suitable value for the fabrication. So remaining 2 is there, almost 4 is solved. So there are some applications by using this optimization. The machine learning based methods are used for calculating the radar cross section of the antenna radome system. In this method, the back propagation algorithm can also be used for training the machine learning model. There are more number of algorithms are available. So a commonly used algorithm is genetic algorithm, is one of the global optimization algorithm that antenna designers can use widely for optimizing the antenna size. So it can able to enhance the performance of microstrip patch antennas by optimizing the bandwidth, multi-frequency, directivity gain, size, etc. So this is the flow of a genetic algorithm. So database we collected from the EM simulator which we have used. So from that the data set is given to the model artificial neural network, so that the artificial neural network can able to train. After that we can obtain one optimized value. By using that optimized value, we can design the antenna that will give the perfect resonant frequency. So here the substrate used and the length and width of the microstrip patch antenna I have mentioned. Before that we will see. So almost it's completed. So RBN, radial basis network, is the most suitable network for various microwave modeling purpose. Actually, it has 2 layers and one additional layer is called a hidden layer. This is the architecture of radial basis network. So this is how we trained the normal artificial neural network. And also the antenna design having some constant parameters that we can kept as constant and optimize the value which we need to optimize. So it's completed. Now results, then create model solution data report in rectangular plot. So here it's showing more number of graphs, because we done the parametric from 36 mm to 42 mm with the step size of 1 mm, so that it shows the graph. So already I done some parametric, so that also it's overlapping with this graph. But if you try this steps in your HFSS simulator, it shows the exact output from 36 mm to 42 mm with a step size of 1 mm. So from this we can choose the exact value which we need to fabricate. So here we have some parameters. That means here we can obtain the number of length and width dimensions. By using this various length and width, we can optimize this design. So for that, you just go to this optimetrics and add here below the parametric there is an option called optimization. So here there are goals, variables, general and options are available. So generally the optimizer here using is quasi-Newton. This is the most general case. Actually more number of algorithms are available at this part. You can choose based upon your need, you can choose your algorithm. I just defaultly choose this quasi-Newton gradient. So this is maximum number of iterations. You choose this as 1000, and you need to mention which you want to optimize, so that you go for this setup calculation. Before that, you need to maintain this acceptable cost as 0, because we need the value, expected value, and the actual value is same. So after simulating this, I will explain what is acceptable cost. So here you need to click this setup calculation. So here you just add this calculation to the window. After clicking this, the one more option is available on this screen, and again you press done. So after done this, you have to clear the range. So which frequency you want to resonate the antenna, you go to edit. So here it shows the frequency range from 1 gigahertz to 3 gigahertz. You have to choose which frequency exactly. Selected values, I already it is in specified range, so that it shows the ranges. Now you go to selected values, so that I need 2.4 gigahertz or 2.3 gigahertz. Now okay, and then condition, I need return loss must be less than or equal to 10 dB, that I have mentioned. You always kept this weight as 1. After that, you go to this variable. Actually, you done the parametric with this length of the patch, so that it shows here. After that, there is an option called general. So here, this general option, after completing this parametric setup only, this option is available. If you are not done the parametric option, means you won't get this option. So after clicking this parametric analysis, you can choose this. And these options, these and all options only you can choose as your wish. So after this I click OK. Goal expression. Okay, here it is -10. Now it's okay. So this optimization setup 3 is created just now. So you just right click this and make analysis. It takes some time to analyze, because it should take all the parametric values. So before that, I just convey the theory. So after optimization, we can also fine tune this. For this, there is an option called tuning analysis. So that you just right click, and there is an option called tuning. Okay. I show some. Okay, ma'am. Okay. Okay, ma'am. So this is the actual result after the optimization have done. So this is the option called table and plot. So here the table shows the optimized value. Here this is the patch length I varied. I actually chosen, so it varied from 36 to 41.96, 42 mm. But here the cost is available, no. So here, actually, initially I assigned the cost as 0. 0 means less cost give more suitable dimensions. So compared to this, here this is 2.8, this is 14.72, 75, 1.52. So from this we can conclude that this 42 mm is more suitable for the patch length. So for a 2.3 gigahertz, but the antenna designed is 2.4 gigahertz, but here we optimized for 2.3 gigahertz. So that only it shows 42 mm as the optimized dimension. Okay. Thank you.
So with this, we will complete our session. Since want of time, we are not able to tell about NEC lab and the one more tool, but you can go through online. So the other two, this neural lab is freely available and we can practice artificial neural networks design neural network design can be practiced using neural lab tool. And another tool related to with the antenna with a neural network is NEC lab. So this is also freely available. You can practice optimization using neural network in NEC lab tool. So with this we conclude and we thank all the participants for patience hearing. Any questions? Any questions from participants? Sorry, we are already late by 12 minutes. You can mail me also rbrani@gmail.com or rbrani@natpy.ac.in.
Hello.
Tell me, sir.
Madam, in neural network tool,
Yes.
how to means on which basis we are going to select this activation function? Means is there any rules to select based upon our data and?
No, iteration we will be, for example, if we are interested in minimum error of some value, so
Yes.
we can give condition that the iteration will go up to the until reaches that minimum error value. And there should always be a balance between time as well as the simulation time and the result.
Okay.
Anything else, sir?
No.
Thank you. Any other participants? And
Good afternoon to all. This is Ram Kumar, research scholar NIT Puducherry. Thank you, ma'am, for your wonderful presentation on antenna design and simulation. Actually, the participants are mostly from academic and research scholar, academic faculty and research scholar. Most of the institute have that MATLAB, but most of us don't aware of that NN tool. Really, it's hope it's useful for the participant. And also, even though you are not able to follow this frequently for participant, we will provide a recording of this one, so you can go by step, you can understand this one. So really it was useful session, ma'am. And also continuation of that, my co-scholar Mutramya has handled that how to design a patch antenna with proper matching using HFSS step by step. Then also continuously my co-scholar Rajastri ma'am has explained how to optimize to get a proper value of any parameter. So I thank entire team. And also I want to mention one point here. My guide, Dr. Bobiran, always encouraging us in a very good manner, actually. So even here also in the presentation, all the my co-scholar designed this one with the constant support of her. And I extend my thanks to Professor Dr. Raghavan sir and Trichy. He's always encouraging us and appreciating. And I thank once again Dr. Raghavan sir. And also in the participant there is Dr. Pandiswari ma'am, NIT Trichy, and I thank Dr. Pandiswari ma'am also. So I thank all the participants for your listening. Even though its time is somewhat late, here already there are around 70 participants there. Thank you for your constant support. So I thank one and all once again. Next session will start at 2:15. Okay.